People of Reddit, what was the most not safe for work event you ever stumbled upon in high school? Not me, but a friend of mine who was a yearbook photographer. She was a rail-thin, awkward, geeky high schooler, and she was asked to photograph a day in the life of the swim team. Our school had the football fever, so other sports were always trying to get more than a few mentions in the yearbook packed with dozens of football shots. So my friend showed up to the swim team practice, and later state tournament. She was asked to join them at their victory party, which was at someone's house with its own pool and hot tub. When she got there, most of the team was already drunk, and not an adult in sight. There were also a lot of girlfriends of the team there, and more than once, my friend was asked to join them naked in the hot tub. Sex was pretty freely flowing, and she strived constantly to get acceptable photos instead of the wanton depravity around her. At one point, some naked girl was chugging while she was in the cowboy position screwing on top of her boyfriend while everyone cheered her on. They kept begging my friend to take photos, and she refused in horrified shock. Some of the guys got really handsy with her until finally she picked a time when they were distracted, and she left. She later was crying to her best friend because she felt so stressed out, and it was nothing like she expected. Sort of like showing a 10-year-old Caligula when they were expecting Toy Story 2. Only one photo made it to yearbook from that party. A hot tub photo where she had to crop out the beer keg, and everyone's body was below the waterline so you couldn't tell they were naked. I was a dildo peddler for a while at school. Girls who wanted sex toys but didn't want to buy them themselves, or could not, would pay me the cost and a bit extra for me to get it for them simply because I had no shame as a 17-year-old. The store clerk must have been thinking you've shoved them up yourself then reverse digesting it or some shit. A freshman got jerked off by his girlfriend under the table in the cafeteria during lunch. Someone sitting near them noticed was happening, took a video, and posted it online. The administration quickly found out, the video was taken down, and all three involved were suspended. I ran cross-country in high school. Sometimes during practice we would run through trails in the woods surrounding the high school. One day right after school ended we started running down the trails and stumbled upon two students having sex. Judging by their reactions I don't think they were expecting a group of 15 guys to run by while they were getting it on. Did they finish? Didn't stick around long enough to find out, but I imagine they relocated to a more private location first. We had to go outside for a physics experiment, but on the way from the classroom to the field, there was a bloody trail. A girl had just been stabbed in the bathroom and run to the nurse. She'd moved to the country less than a month prior, gotten mixed up with some shady people, and a 14-year-old hid in the bathroom stall before jumping out and trying to stab her in the face. She put her arms up and only had superficial injuries, but she never came back. Poor girl had PTSD last time I checked. What town of degenerate 14-year-olds did you go to school with? Actually it was a pretty good school, but it was located about 2 blocks from the Las Vegas Strip, which is a horrible, horrible neighborhood. 8th grade sex education. Teacher showed us a video of a woman giving birth. Very close shots, very graphic, very disturbing to most 8th graders. Weird kid in the class tucks his arms into his shirt and starts jerking off to the fully dilated vagina being shown on the 200-inch projector screen. Good lord. What the fuck? Me and 3 others found a sex dungeon underneath the auditorium in the back storage room. The girl who ran it was a junior who fucked a good portion of the football team there. There was a bucket filled quarter way with used condoms. Fun day. In 8th grade we went on a class trip to Hershey Park. 2 girls gave a guy a blowjob on the bus ride home next to a sleeping chaperone. They eventually got caught and that's why there are now no co-ed buses in the district. This was also in 2002. I wonder if that's the reason we don't have co-ed in my district. How can your districts afford separate buses for gender? Like, we barely have enough in general. Walked into a bathroom after school and found a guy and a girl about to go to town. She had her shirt off and skirt up, he had his pants on. I mean, I caught them just before the moment of insertion. I said nothing. I would have left them to it, except all other bathrooms on campus except this one were always locked shortly before last bell. So I silently walked to a urinal, calmly did my business, properly washed my hands. By the time I went to leave, the girl was hiding in a stall and the guy was waiting by the door. I shrugged at the guy shrugged back. I left and heard the door lock behind me. Not one of us said anything or made a sound during the entire exchange. For everyone calling it a power move, I appreciate it, but I just didn't wanna have to pee in the bushes. We always threw house parties at my friend's house. One day I went to grab my jacket from one of the rooms, and I heard some moaning and groaning so I thought it was just a couple hooking up. I flipped the lights on because I couldn't find my jacket and saw that 3 of the track girls were butt naked finger banging and eating each other out. Instead of just standing there and watching or trying to participate, my nerdy high school self said, "Hi," waved, and said, "Have fun," as I walked out giving them privacy. Later on that year, I ended up dating one of the girls and would always try to mention it, and maybe try to get a threesome going. Never happened though. She said it was just a drunk moment. There was a kid, we will call him CB. He was notoriously a bad kid. Always in fights, getting kicked out of school, etc. Anyways, his locker wasn't next to mine but it was really close. He and I never had problems because I purposefully avoided him. One day another kid, we will call AC, and CB got into an argument. It led to a pushing and shoving match and some shit talking but got separated really quickly. The next day, AC was walking past our lockers and CB pulled a literal crowbar out of his locker, ran up behind AC and hit him in the back of the head so hard that blood hit me in the face. Part of AC's scalp literally half folded hurled it over the back of his head as he was on the floor. CB started hitting him in the back of the head with it. Other students jumped on him and held him down. An ambulance took AC to the hospital. His skull was fractured and he had broken ribs. I had to get checked out because of the blood exposure. No idea where CB went, but I never saw him again. What happened to AC? Came back to school a long time later. Like months. He made a recovery, but he had to have surgery and shit. Heard a rumor that they had to staple his scalp back down. Like, I wish you could have seen it. From right above his neckline flapped over the back of his head. It was white with some pinkish fluid on it. Not really not safe for work. Just my most vivid high school memory. It was the biggest poop I'd ever seen. Just one huge log, to my memory the size of the toilet bowl. It definitely didn't fit down the hole and had to be removed by a janitor. Everyone told their friends about it and one by one we all went and checked it out. Also no toilet paper in the bowl. All that was there was the one big fat legendary turd. It physically hurts me to think about how it came out of a butthole. I would just like to add that I am touched and humbled by all of your poo-related stories. In this time of division and opposition, let us all remember we are united by poo. Holy shit, I had the same thing in middle school. Someone made such a girthy, long, robust turd that it had braced itself end to end across the entire rim of the toilet above the water. It was incredible. It reeked. It was like God himself had wedged it there. We missed the first 10 minutes of class as every boy shuffled giddily through the boys' restroom to the big stall where that glorious shit lay in state. To remember it now, it was easily 3 to 4 inches, or 7 to 10 centimeters in diameter, and almost a foot or 30 centimeters long. Just fucking remarkable. The water was even flushed away several times to demonstrate there was no trickery. A teacher rushed in and used a plunger to try and tap it in. It held once, twice, a third time. We were buckled with laughter. It finally broke and both pieces landed in such a way that still prevented them from going down. Absolute highlight of middle school. I went to a small party at my friend's house. My girlfriend and I got there late. We went in and noticed nobody was in the living room. Weird. They said they'd be here. Start walking to the back and I could hear several voices in the bedroom. I just opened the door and there were 7 of my friends just having a casual orgy. How the fuck does this happen without you knowing this stuff about your friends? I knew they were all pretty open about their sexuality, but I didn't think they'd go so far down that road. Not me specifically, but 2 kids in my Catholic high school fucked in the bathroom, and someone caught them and videotaped it. They posted it online. Our school made the news and now they measure girls' skirts if they look too high, as well as banning phones. Yup, skirt length was the problem here. Well, how am I supposed to focus on geometry when Marissa's knees are right there? This was junior high. But one kid, who we suspected was gay, gave another kid, who we did not suspect was gay, a blowjob in the bathroom stall. And for what? A holofoil Clefairy Pokemon card. Service rendered, goods received. Just a standard transaction. It's just good business. I went to a boarding school for my freshman year of high school, and a few weeks in, I volunteered to help walk our librarian's dog for her while her leg was healing after an injury. So I was walking this huge dog through the woods around campus when he suddenly sniffed the air and just ripped the leash out of my hands and took off into the underbrush. I started chasing after him when I heard screaming and yelling. I thought, oh god, this dog mauled someone and I'm going to get expelled. Broke through a clearing and there were 5 half-naked upperclassmen trying to put their clothes on and scatter while this dog is joyously barking and jumping up on and licking them. TLDR, accidentally interrupted an orgy in the woods with my librarian's dog. I guess since so many people are asking. Yes, it was a co-ed school and yes, both sexes were represented. Went to teacher's room to get some papers that my Portuguese teacher had forgotten, and stumbled at my gym and biology teachers kissing each other really hard over the meeting table. I mean, they didn't even notice me. And oh, it was a Catholic school. And they were both married, by the way. My face when I returned to class without the papers must have been priceless. Okay, 2 stories. One not safe for work, but still messed up. Janitor in elementary school died while mopping the floor, and somehow this didn't get around the entire school, and my entire class saw them taking his covered-up body out the front door. Another is walking in on several people giving BJs in the bandroom. It became a daily thing and I should have known to also knock on the practice room doors before entering. We had many PCs in our school, and every computer room had a projector. So once when the teacher was ill and no replacement came, we were in that room. Someone started the projector and quickly found out that every porn site he tried is blacklisted. But playing from USB apparently works fine. We later found out, not only are the connections whitelisted, but also fully monitored. Not long after the movie show with sound and everything started, the IT tech guy comes with a substitute teacher. That internet search history was apparently enough for them to suddenly have a substitute teacher for us. For anyone interested, we were around 16 or 18 males if I recall correctly, and 4 girls in class. I can't remember how many were there that day. In band before a football game, I walk into the percussion room to hang with the homies. Everyone is huddled around this dude in the corner of the room laughing. So of course, I walk over to check it out. Turns out the dude was showing everyone how tiny his dick is and everyone was so fascinated. Yeah, it was really small. Like from the tip of your pinky to the first knuckle down. I've never seen anything like it, lol. I know it called a micropenis. Props to the dude for having the confidence to show everyone though.
We dick energy.
A creepy 45-year-old teacher was caught watching porn twice by the same girl, and both times it was a braces fetish and a schoolgirl thing, and the girl that caught him wore skirts and had braces. No, he was never fired or even talked to after going to the board, and yes, this is public school. Freshman year of high school. Football team is out practicing. A senior varsity player came into the freshman locker room, cut all the locks off our lockers, and stole our clothes. Nice enough to take wallets and phones etc. out of pockets and leave them in the lockers though. Idiot didn't realize the hallway cameras had him the whole time. Most of us chose not to shower until we got home and, as a team, proceeded to leave in groups in undershirts and boxers or no shirts and boxers after getting a call our rides were there. Small town, small school. So ultimately he was just benched for a few games, suspended for a day or two, and his parents had to buy a bunch of padlocks. When I was in middle school, someone jerked off and finished on his desk in the middle of class. The story is legend in our area and it's been retold so many times that it's hard to figure out what actually happened after he finished. So I'll give you each ending I've heard from different people. 1. He finished and it shot across his desk onto the girl's hair in front of him. 2. The teacher heard something happening, went over and saw it on the desk and put her finger in it. 3. He just cummed over himself and got kicked out of class. He got suspended and a few years later got caught peeing outside and put on the sex offenders list. The guy is really funny and pretty chill now. He has a lot of stories about him and they're all amazing. Oh man, I've got a good one for this. So I'm in high school theater class and have been helping the teacher out with a lot of tasks, like setting up the green room and stuff, just little helpful stuff. Well, apparently one of us left the door unlocked and unattended for a little too long. In our green room were 2 big blue couches that were the most uncomfortable things I had ever sat on. Teacher comes running into the room from the hall and says, "Hey, I think someone is in the green room. Go with me so I can have a witness." Thinking nothing of it, I go. We stand by the door and someone is most definitely in there, making some pretty unusual sounds. I realize what the sound is a half second before the teacher throws the door open to 2 kids from my class getting down on that couch. I only had like 2 seconds of view time before the teacher screams, "Good golly Miss Molly," and slams the door. I sat outside that door crying from laughing for about 20 minutes before they knocked on the door to be let out, realizing we had the stage completely locked down. The look on their faces when the principal let them out and led them to his office will forever be in my mind. Can you imagine? Balls deep about to blow and from over your shoulder, "Good golly Miss Molly." I dream of it sometimes and still wake up laughing. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like the stories. More to come daily, so don't miss it. See you tomorrow.